Hey guys, welcome back to Discover SPRINGFORD. I'm standing in front of the RainDance Life Center for Mind, Body, and Spirit, located on Chestnut Street in Royersford. Today, I'll be sitting down with owners Genia and Silva. I'm Geoff, a professional actor, part-time realtor, and transplant to the Springford area. And I'm on a mission to find the best that Springford has to offer. I'll be interviewing local business owners, civil servants, and other prominent members of the community to find out what makes Springford a great place to live, work, eat, and explore. I invite you to join me on my journey as I discover Springford. Genia and Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show today. Very appreciated.
Thank you so much, Geoff, for coming to visit us.
No, you're welcome. So why don't we go back to the beginning? You guys can decide who goes first, but you can tell me just a little bit about your history personally, where you guys were born, where you grew up, how you ended up in this area, and then we can go more from the business perspective.
Start. Your history is a little longer than my history. Why don't you start?
Oh man, the gloves are off already.
Well, we met in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I lived for about 17 years, and met Genia. She rented me an apartment.
Oh wow!
And I'm very glad because it gave me a place to live and a phenomenal future. We were there for probably about a year, together when an opportunity came up out here in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So we took the plunge. I was dying to get out of the desert. She was too. And so we moved out here, and both in the corporate world until
2015.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And 3 years ago, Genia had an opportunity that she took herself. She no longer worked for a certain company, and within a month I came home one day and she had been online the whole time getting certifications and exploring and doing research, and I'll let you take that from there.
Yes, I am a corporate refugee. I was in corporate America for most of my adult life.
Wow.
And there was a fateful day in 2015 that I decided to take the leap, take the jump, and kind of build my wings on the way.
Yeah.
Called Jesse on the way from leaving the corporate world and said, "Guess what? Going solo, flying solo.
Wow.
Scared to death. Like you said, massive trainings, massive certifications. I've always had an interest in psychology and sociology. I majored, in English in college 1,000 years ago, with minors in psych and soc. And RainDance was born in August of 2015.
Wow.
At first it was just RainDance Life Coaching, and then it was RainDance Life Coaching and Reiki. And our path has taken us to, RainDance Life, Mind, Body, Spirit.
Wow. So it's really been a kind of, as you go, building, adding on, building the spaceship as you're flying. It's crazy.
Pretty much.
I think that's exciting to hear, because I feel like that shows that you guys are like willing to take some risks that maybe other businesses or people that are thinking about doing something, they think they need to have all the answers.
Right.
They need to know the end of the story before they begin the story, kind of thing. So to hear that you guys kind of just were like, let's see what happens, I think that's very it speaks to me, because I kind of come from a similar situation where I worked in, I thought my life was heading a certain direction. It didn't go that direction, and then I just had to find a job that would pay me enough. I didn't have a college degree, so I just kind of went from corporate job to corporate job, making as much as I could for the lack of education and experience that I had, but knew that it wasn't where I needed to be. I had a very specific desire, and to say that it was acting or theater, it was just it sounded silly to be able to articulate those things. So I had to hide it for a little while and deny it. But now, thankfully I'm able to do it. But to hear, you said corporate refugee, I think that is accurate. Especially seeing you guys now having your own business, I feel like it is a very, it's almost like a DNA trait to have like the business owner gene or the entrepreneurial spirit. I feel like people do see, they see the former life that they lived in corporate as almost like how did I operate in that world for so long? Because it's once you discover that about yourself, the entrepreneurial side, you realize, like, how have I not been doing this all along, kind of thing. Now, I'm not trying to put that on, that may not be how you guys feel, but that seems to have been a common thread as I've been talking to people, where they're like, I used to work in corporate, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I ever survive there? So
I think what you just did was really break down Genia perfectly, because when she initially started, when she first told me about her thoughts and where she wanted to go, it was very personal.
Yeah.
It was a desire that obviously was born from her interactions in the corporate world, but it just didn't feel right, as you mentioned it. And since then, in the last 3 years, she has taken RainDance in so many different directions, all relatively in the same general, and that is towards helping people. There was an element that she's spoken to me about many times, about just that awesome feeling of sitting across from someone in the corporate world, having a profound impact on them, and even though that's not your intention, looking back on it, loving it, and then wondering, how else can I do this?
Right.
And I think it was that moment, sitting at home that maybe that first day that it started to well up, and ever since then, she finds new and different ways to take that passion, which is what it is. I mean, it may be undeveloped, but it was at that point, and now here, absolutely anything that she can do to push us in a direction where we're helping people. The groups that we offer here, the services, even just the phone calls. I mean, you can sit next to her and listen to her talking, and if somebody calls for just a piece of information, you'll hear her end up in almost a coaching situation, just because she loves it. And it was that drive and that passion that's kind of gotten us here today.
That's cool. So when you were in the corporate world, were you doing business coaching, or was that just something that you were doing, but it had nothing to do actually with what your job was at the time? Yeah.
That's a great question. I started in sales and marketing 1,000 years ago, and I did kind of merge into training and development. So I was, when I finally left, I was a regional training and development coach.
Oh, okay.
So like Jesse said, I loved what I was doing every day. I loved connecting, and training and developing and unleashing potentials, and not just for work, but there's a merge, the work-life thing. There is no work-life. It's when you can merge the two and be fulfilled. And I loved that. And I would come home, and those would be my best days. That's what I loved about corporate. Yeah. There were other things that I didn't so much. So I've made it a point with RainDance to take what I've learned from, say, sales, say, marketing, the connection and the development part, but also I made a conscious decision that RainDance was going to come at it from a different way. There is no hierarchy here at RainDance. Jesse and I are the business owners, but we are surrounded by a tribe. All of our practitioners and our therapists. It's a community. It's a collective. We have really embraced, which I had to embrace early on, the concept of fail forward. Which is probably, why we do so well, because we're willing to take risks. There's no fear-based, old school corporate mentality, and that was really important to me. That was one of the things I really wanted to focus on going forward, is to lead with love rather than fear.
No, that makes sense. I've heard that people say, like, it's not about success or failure. It's about outcomes, and then what you do with those outcomes.
Absolutely.
It's like a formula. If A plus B equals C may not be what you wanted to happen, but it's still there. So what are you going to do with C? Now with what? And it's cool that you may not have realized this, or you may have since thought about that. But the fact that you had the background in sales, marketing, training, development, and now, unbeknownst at the time, that was preparing you to then be a business owner. Isn't that cool? Like, I think sometimes we see things, and that's another reason why we can never really define it as failure, because we see things as missteps, or like, how is this going to get me where I want to end up? And then when you look back, you can actually see, like, the milestones of why you were there, what you needed to learn in that moment that prepared you for this next opportunity that wasn't even on your horizon at the time. So that's when I have these conversations with business owners and the people that serve our community, whether it be through the political arena or whatever it may be, or they're just artists, that common thread of, like, when they look back on their life, they can see that there were things that equipped them for something that they were being called to do and they didn't even know it at the time. And that gets me fired up when I talk about it. That's one of the things that I love is the storytelling and getting people to recognize in their lives that things happen, and what can we do with those things that have happened to better prepare us for the next things, and that's very encouraging to hear you guys talk about that as well.
Absolutely.
I'm getting fired up talking
Right.
about it. I start to get
fired up.
on my soapbox sometimes about it and be like,
It's
it's
one of those subjects that we don't often talk about,
right.
especially when it comes to failure. So kind of your last statement, we don't realize those things and where they're going to take us. That's the forward view, and then you arrive someplace, or you've gone through the trials and tribulations, and you've had either some success or some failure, and you look back. And having the ability to say, yeah, that was a misstep, but man, I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah,
because
right.
if I hadn't done that, it would not have led me to here. Look, I'll be honest with you. That day 3 years ago when I found out that Genia was no longer, in the job that she had, that'd be one of those moments. Man, I'm so glad that she did what she did. I mean,
right.
That's obviously what she has developed, but also the ladies that she works with and has in here. It's just an amazing thing, and probably the best part of my life. I'm still stuck in the corporate world, but I get to peer in, as often as possible and take part in just what is really a passionate life.
Right, absolutely. And moving forward, we do look back with gratitude and appreciation for everything, not just, the work circumstances that I've gotten, the skills I did learn along the way, the ones I've chosen that work for me to bring with me, but also the philosophies that I've chosen to leave behind. That no longer work for me. And I think life is like about that. Looking back and realizing there really is a method to the madness, and all of it, whether it's personal, whether it's professional,
right? It's like finding the pearls in the. They always talk about that, like clams. I guess they. Was it oysters that produce pearls? Yeah,
oysters,
whatever. Yeah, oysters.
Clams,
they talk about oftentimes the pearl is produced through. Trauma that's been caused, and obviously not always ideal circumstances, and the memories and the negative memories, you can definitely move past those for sure. Yeah, and if you do, and there's the pearls from those circumstances, whether it's helping other people that have also gone through a similar situation, which I found to be. I've had people do that with me, like when I'm struggling and there are difficult things that I encounter, people that. It means a lot more talking to somebody that has gone through it, a similar situation, who's out on the other side of it, those types of things. So tell me a little bit about, what that process was like. You worked in the corporate world once you moved here as well? You had said you moved out here. When did you guys move out here? Did you say?
2000.
Right at the end of 2011.
Okay. So it's still pretty recently compared to, the life that you lived in Nevada and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so you were here, you decided, your corporate career came to an end, however it did. Yeah, probably, as it often does, unfortunately, with some people. But in this case, fortunately, because it positioned you to make this leap. Do you care to share a little bit about what those initial conversations were like when you were deciding, like, what am I going to do next, and what is this venture going to look like that you guys shared together, and how it started to formulate into what is now RainDance?
Absolutely. Well, the good news is our vision and our purpose together has always been clear. Our North Star has always been to positively impact
A million people.
Yeah.
A billion people.
Yeah. Maybe that number keeps growing.
Keep raising the bar.
It's like McDonald's. It was originally, what was it, 1 million served? Now it's 99 billion or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to grow bigger.
Exactly. How best to do that. With that being said, walking away, from the steady job, the steady paycheck, the familiar, the comfort I was scared to death.
I can hear that.
I absolutely was, and I was looking to Jesse and looking to my daughter, looking to anybody to kind of talk me out of it and talk me back into my senses. But all I got was this great enthusiasm and go. I was like, oh.
You're like, I kind of want you to rein me back in here a little bit. Don't give me this undying sport.
Really? We're doing this?
It's too easy, though. When those who know Genia on a personal level, and I certainly, even 3 years ago, if she has an inkling, if she has a desire to try something, it's going to blossom.
Yeah.
There's just something about her. And the other practitioners here are a good example of that. I mean, you can speak to any of them and they will say exactly the same thing. We've had, back then, I can imagine, and although I didn't know that there was trepidation on your part, I can imagine there would be. There really wasn't on my part, because it was a matter of whatever it is that she's going to end up doing, it's going to be fantastic. She when she transferred out here, she transferred in what would be kind of like a starting position, came out and then quickly changed companies because there was desire to pull her into other companies by the leaders of those companies. And as she progressed right up, the food chain, so to speak, into that leadership position where she was doing all the training, and that all happened within just a few years. A good example of what's going to happen. So when she says, "Hey, I'm really interested in life coaching," I now know. Let's just wait 5 years because you know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Huge, enjoyable ride. It is, and that's just awesome. Because of the way she is.
So what were some of the early days back in 2015 like? How did it begin? Obviously, you weren't here in this location. What did it look like in its infancy?
It looked like
Vistaprint business cards.
Yes.
It looked like
that's where I got my Discover SPRINGFORD business card. Is that
right? My philosophy back then, and it still is, was funding the dream. If I made $20 with a coaching client, that went right to my business cards.
Yeah.
So I went, because no longer did I could I pick up the phone and call an IT guy and say, hey, I need a website.
Right.
I'm like, oh. So I had to learn a lot of things that I didn't actually incorporate. I never had to deal with things like that. So it was, learning how to build a website, finding, wikiing and Googling and reading and researching and how exactly am I going to do this? And, and taking my certification classes and more classes and then just grinding, just grinding it out, trying to build a website, researching, again, asking questions.
Well, and that's one of her greatest
knocking
gifts.
on doors, meeting people, meeting people, talking to people, just forming connections. It was scary.
I'm sure.
I think the computer part was difficult for me because again, I could always delegate that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I learned some new skills.
Yeah.
But I knew how to market with zero budget.
Yes, that's good.
I learned that in corporate, so that was wonderful. So it was making flyers on the computer and going to coffee shops and saying, hey, I want to put on a workshop here. Will you have me? Will you have me?
That's incredible. Yeah, just pounding the pavement, right? That's amazing.
And she still does it to this day because I think that's obviously, part of one of the things that she's just got great amounts of is curiosity. And she, I've seen her a number of times draw from some thought she had back in the corporate world about marketing. Hey, I used to go out and do this. How do I use that in this current business?
Right.
And how does it help
make it work for what it, make it how it fits RainDance rather than do what they did, find the way that it works. Yeah, that's cool. That's a huge skill set that I think a lot of people don't use to its full potential. Like they see, like this person's doing this, so I'm gonna copy it,
right? And
then it doesn't work, and it's because they didn't take that extra step, which is make it work for what you're doing. Exactly. That's huge, and I think that's awesome to hear that you did that, because I think that'll be helpful for a lot of people that are watching this who may be struggling and being like, why isn't this working for me? Well, maybe you weren't clear enough with what you wanted it to accomplish for you to fit it into what you're already doing. And like you said, that you've always had that North Star, that's huge as well. Because for me, not to make it about me, but I was working in a cubicle and I felt like I was going through depression and I was just miserable because I hit 30, God forbid that someone hit 30. But for me, that was a big deal because I always kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do. I was always going to either be a performing artist or I was going to do something that I felt I could see a direct connection and feel. And to be working as like one of a million people in this corporate, it was just like I couldn't see the effect of what I was accomplishing. And the idea of getting into real estate, which I didn't have any tangible skills. I was good at talking and I was good at paperwork and numbers and things like that. And I was like, okay, well this helps, this works. But so many missteps of like trying to trial and error. And it's because I was doing what they were telling me to do, not what worked best for me.
Right.
With the brokers and things like that. And then once I started to find my own identity, that's when I started to see things happen.
Right.
But I kind of made the mistake of just jumping without an identity. But the fact that you guys from day one kind of knew what you wanted to accomplish, I think that is a testament of why you are where you are now. I believe that truly.
Absolutely.
And I think early on I embraced the concept of failing forward, and that's one of I think I said it before, but failing forward was huge because not everything worked. And there were some things that in the marketing and things that just weren't working for me, and a lot of times the things that weren't working for me, it's funny, was the things that weren't really authentic to me. I was trying to put carts before the horses and things like that. So the failing forward was so important. Like, okay, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, we're going to either learn something and find a redirection, or we're going to know, maybe that, we're not going to try that again.
Yeah, I've heard people say, make your first 5,000 mistakes as fast as possible.
Exactly.
Because sometimes people are like, they don't go all in, and then their failure takes longer.
Sure.
But it's still going to be a failure. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're going to go, try it, and if it doesn't work, and it's not going to work going forward, then you can be like, okay, I tried that, and then you move on. And that's huge. And the fact that you were willing to embrace that is great.
Risk aversion, she's got almost no risk aversion. But there's a really good philosophy that she has really developed behind it, and that's just simply, what are you risking? Even if you fail and you're willing to learn something and willing to look at that failure as some sort of lesson, where's the risk?
Yeah,
that's true. So that's a great philosophy to live by. If only we could impart that to every single person. Because I know so many people that I'm like, the only thing that's stopping you is you. Like you're looking for permission from somebody, or you're looking for something to be the sign that means go do it, instead of the fact that it's been burning in your heart for years. Exactly. Like that should be sign enough to go and at least try. I'm not saying you have to quit your job and do it, but you're not doing anything in that arena right now. Like, at least start to dabble, start to make things happen, even if it's just for your own sanity. Because for me, everything I did was an escape from my work. But when I was doing that, I was like fully alive.
Right.
Whether it was, my friend and I used to do a little radio show, and like, we didn't get paid to do it, but when we were doing that, like, I was on fire. You know what I mean? Like, so, and then there's some people that I know that are sad and they're depressed and they don't like their job and they can't quit their job because they, that I would never tell someone, just quit your job, whatever. But then they're also not using their free time to do things that they love and care about. They're just moping about the thing that they do 40 hours a week. And I'm like, oh, missed opportunity, like, get out there and start to try, just what did you say before? Build the wings as you're flying, or something like that? Yeah, like
build your wings on the way. Build your wings on the way.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
And I'm so grateful, that I had my sweet husband, pumping up my wings when I had those moments. Not only to inspire me, but to join me on this venture. We do coaching together. I mean, we're always learning and growing together, and reading books and
absolutely. And okay, back at you then. That you've actually introduced me to what is my passion in a formal sense. I'm still in the corporate world. I'm still doing the same job that I started doing 30 years ago. But it's not the bane of my existence where I've got my happiness with Genia and here at RainDance. I actually incorporate them both into it. And if she hadn't shown me that one of the things that I absolutely love is to learn from people. I mean, literally, I'm a crazy question asker. I am the world's most curious human being, I'd like to believe. And I'm really interested in what makes not only people tick, but them make their decisions. And it's purely selfish.
That's how I
can learn it.
That's why I'm doing this.
I didn't know it. I had no idea, and it wasn't even a thought process until Genia, started this venture, and she was so passionate about it. And then very slowly, very, very slow. I think it was probably about a year after you started, or was it? Maybe it was even a few months, where she says, "Yeah, we're going to be doing some coaching together," because we had spent so much time talking about, why do we work so well? What are the elements that really make us work? who were we in past relationships where it just didn't work, and how do we look at those contrasts and learn something from it, and then how do we take those and impart them to others? And we'd had those conversations so much that she eventually just said, guess what we're doing? And it was a whole day of sit-down coaching sessions as a couple. And I probably spoke as little as possible, but I learned so much, and that was the launch for me. If it wasn't for her,
That's amazing.
Because one of the most important aspects of our lives is relationships. So there comes in the relationship coaching.
Oh, for sure.
But also, we wanted to start building relationships within RainDance, within our tribe. I don't call it a staff because we're a tribe. To build the relationships within, so we can go and build the community and relationships without. And that also is part of what we at RainDance would like to accomplish going forward and every day.
That's cool.
We coined a phrase between us that we started sharing within our coaching, and that is that your relationships are only as good as your relationship with yourself. Right. So how do you improve yourself, and then how do you improve the intimate relationship, and then how do you improve the relationship with your boss, with the rest of your family, your friends, even just the community, even just the cashier at Wawa, who we all have to deal with, but can literally be the launch of a bad day if we just don't treat that well.
Right.
So
that's really cool. I always used to say, like, just in the regular, because I worked in retail for a time and had to work a lot with people, I always told people, you're lucky because I'm the best customer you'll ever have, because I know what it's like to get a terrible one, like, so I always tip a little bit more. I always try to, like, apologize if I have a weird request in a dance, like, try to get the person on your side so that they're more willing to accommodate or whatever, like, and instead of demand, like, you work on that, cultivating that relationship. So yeah, that's awesome to hear. And it's true, like that cashier at Wawa doesn't realize the power they hold. Maybe because there's a couple ones at our local Wawa that they're smiling, they're singing, and I'm like, oh, that person's really nice, like, and it boosts, it pays it forward, and
they've figured something out. You had figured something out as a customer. It's getting as many people as possible to figure it out. Right. That if you just shed the armor, as Dr. Brene Brown says all the time, and step into those, even a cashier exchange or a transaction at a counter with authenticity and with vulnerability, they probably enjoy the interaction with you. Right. And that makes you feel good. And even as you step away from it, which would you rather feel? Right. Would you rather feel like the guy who just had all these demands, or would you rather feel like the guy who maybe said something goofy and made them laugh? Yeah, right. That's great.
So tell me a little bit about what you guys have going on currently. What are some of the things that you offer? And then I'll let you guys tell people how they can find out more.
But as we said, RainDance kind of started with a wing and a prayer, as RainDance coaching, and kind of morphed into the RainDance mind, body, spirit, because we quickly realized we love what we do with the coaching and the workshops that we put on, but it's not all mind, without balance and blending of all three, mind, body, and spirit, you're only focusing on one thing, right? So we created RainDance to offer different services for the mind, the body, and the spirit. And spirit, whatever that means to you, whether it's God, whether it's universe, whether it's sources, creator. So we now offer massage. We have a beautiful massage therapist. She's amazing. We have Dr. Jane Locke, who's our wellness doctor and specialist. All her wonderful products behind us. She's our chiropractor and our wellness specialist, stress specialist. EFT and tapping for anxiety. We also have hypnotherapy. We offer meditation twice a week, free to the community. Most of our workshops and support groups are either free or very low cost, $5, $10 donation. The cool thing about our donations is they go right back into the community, because we offer those who can't afford services. So if someone needs coaching, or someone needs hypnotherapy or chiropractic, they can come here and receive those services.
That's really cool, because so people who have can help those who have not. Absolutely. To have wellness. I think that's huge, and I think that those types of decisions and the generosity of not just of spirit but financial generosity, which is helpful as well. Those types of things, they have what we were talking about with, like, the cashier, like, you walk away feeling better knowing, like, I can throw a couple more dollars in the donation because I know there's somebody out there who needs this desperately, can't afford it. That's really cool that and then we become a little bit more connected as a community.
Absolutely. Community and connection. If you look at my Facebooks, there's always #community.
Yeah.
We also offer pranic healing. We also offer reflexology, foot detox, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, there's a lot. So you partnered with several different people that are experts in fields that you are not.
Absolutely.
So that you could have a very well-rounded offering. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
And help them build their individual practices while we build RainDance and kind of get the awareness out there. We also do a ladies' night once a month on a Friday, which is awesome. We have so much fun. People can come and sample our services. It's just $20. Bring wine. The ladies come. But every month it goes to a different community, 501(c)(3).
Awesome.
This month is for Illumination Community Outreach that shines the light on opiate addiction.
Okay.
We've done ones for the Daily Bread Food Pantry, America Animal
that's awesome.
Society, the boots on the ground people, just the smaller ones, the smaller 50 local.
That's awesome.
Yes, we really try to give back again, community and connection.
That's really cool.
Building those relationships.
Yeah, because I think, a healthy community is a healthy community, however we can go about it, whether it's mentally, physically, materially, if they have physical need, food, money, all those things. It's just, it's cool to, and that's the thing that I've really benefited in sitting down with the number of businesses and people that I've gotten to meet. Is just seeing how all of them in their own unique industry, own unique way, are very like-minded, even though it's like totally they may be doing something that's completely out of left field compared to what you're doing.
Right.
But I think that's one of the cool things about our community in Springford specifically, Royersford, Spring City, Limerick, Upper Providence townships. Everybody's really proud of this area and they want to see it succeed and contribute to its success, not just piggyback on it,
Exactly.
And that's kind of cool. And that's one of the reasons why my wife and I decided to move here, was because we felt that it was on the cusp. It wasn't like we were following a trend. And I say that a lot on the show, so I apologize if it's redundant, but we didn't want to just jump on board of like the Phoenixville or the, where everybody's going. We wanted to be a part of the process and to help. So that's really cool to hear all the things that you guys are offering. It's really exciting just to I can feel your passion for it. It's just in the room, so that's really cool.
I told you would feel
that.
It's
amazing. So you were not kidding. So as we wrap up, tell me a little bit about, or tell people how they can find out about you guys online, what your website is, your Facebook URL, all that kind of stuff. If you know it, Instagram, whatever you may be, this is your chance to, and we'll have it below the video as well for people to click out. It'll be on our website as well. So
cool.
Right, and you can find us at raindancelife.com, on Insta at RainDance Life, Twitter at RainDance Life.
Okay.
Look up RainDance Life.
That's good when you can get them all uniform that way. Because unfortunately,
RainDance Life.
Every now and then I do the Google search and RainDance Life comes up first if you put in RainDance.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. Our Facebook page. We do actually have 2 Facebook pages.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to have you like both.
Yeah.
There's RainDance Life Coaching, which was the original, and then we do have the RainDance Life Mind, Body, Spirit page.
And that's for all of the services.
That's for all this. That's for all the services, all the fun stuff, all the events.
Right.
So if you're looking
that's
for
like
all
the hub,
stuff,
and then the coaches. The coaching is more specific. For
the coaching. Okay. You'll get your daily dose of motivation.
Yeah, that's great.
Whatever I'm talking about for the day, but all the fun stuff is here. But please like both.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, is there anything? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and you can find us here. I mean, we're pretty much here every day, all day.
Yeah. Do you have regular hours?
Yeah, we're open during the week. Normally 10 to 6, regular office hours, but we do host workshops almost every night.
Okay.
So the 6 is kind of a misnomer because we're usually here till about 9 or 10. Okay. Workshop. Saturday.
Call ahead though. We don't. They don't want to be locking the door, and you guys show
up. Saturday 11 to 5. Sunday is by appointment only, but we do have the free meditation on Sundays from 11 to 12. So somebody's always here in the morning on Sundays.
Yep.
All right, that's great. So, any last words? I don't want to cut you guys off if there was something, but sorry, that sounded ominous. I didn't mean for it to. But anything that you'd like to give as like a parting word before we wrap up?
We're just humbled and grateful that we have been embraced by the Royersford community to be able to create a space to hopefully launch people into their best lives so they can go ahead and launch those around them into their best lives. I mean, it's just a win-win for us all.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's
we're
awesome.
Just so happy to be here and be part of this community.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you, and thank you for having me today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for visiting
Genia,
us.
thank you.
Thank
Jesse,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of Discover Springford. If you'd like to hear our full conversation, then I encourage you to subscribe to our podcast. You can find it by searching Discover Springford on any podcast app. If you'd like to find out more about RainDance Life, then click the links below the video and get in touch with them. Finally, if you like Discover Springford and want to see more videos highlighting the Springford area, then I encourage you to support us by sharing our videos on social media and also by checking out our website to find out how you can support us financially. You can make a one-time PayPal contribution, or you can support us monthly on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There's also the option of buying a t-shirt or car magnet to spread the word and also support the show. Thanks a lot for watching. I encourage you to come back next week. But until then, get out there on your own journey to discover what makes the Springford area a great place to live, work, eat, and explore.